just finished up a class last night, another Ignite Accelerator course, and we had the pleasure of learning from and speaking with Sanjay, who is a leader in the AI and tech field. He's a consultant, and I mean, back in his day, he closed an $800 million deal over 65 meetings in 18 months. So he knows what he's talking about. So the biggest things we learned from that session was, I'll break it up into 3 things. The first is something that you can implement immediately, and it's understanding your ICP, or ideal customer profile, to a scary amount. The second is the sales process and the psychology, and these two kind of play into each other. And the third is understanding the 3 big questions that you need to know and understand your customer, so that you can have these questions, you can write them out and write out the answers. And if you know those answers and you know that it's actually reflective of your customer, you're in a good place. So the importance of having that specified ICP, he stressed this so much, where it was to the point where you should be like very confused and scared about how similar these people are. Like whether they share the same hobbies, they do the same things on weekends, whatever it is. But the importance of narrowing that down to a point where you no longer have to guess, and it's all quality data. So he said for the first 20 to 30 customers, this might be very different for whatever industry you're doing. Like for us, that sounds about right. For a bigger high ticket industry, it might be less, it might be 5 to 10. For a consumer product, it might be more. But understanding that for the first number of customers to get the business moving, you want them to be scary similar. And the reason, most of all, is because by having the same type of people you're selling to, those are the same type of people you're in sales with, you're onboarding, you're getting feedback from. So whether it's from objection handling on the sales calls or sales meetings or whatever they are, they'll all have similar types of objections because they're the same type of person, the same avatar. And if you have 4 or 5 different avatars, you're stuck learning every single time and spreading yourself out way too thin in the beginning. Because even if you're going to build a $1 billion company, they never start out as a $1 billion company. They start out as serving a small problem to a small group of individuals, and it grows from there. If you were trying to serve 4 or 5 different avatars, every single different avatar will have something else they want from the product, and they'll all try to pull you in their direction, so that you're trying to add features or add solutions to 5 different problems instead of one type of person's problem. So by sticking to that extremely thin line of who are we serving right now, you get rid of all the noise and you focus on what's important for that user. This is why a lot of successful companies start out with someone who experiences a problem firsthand and decide to do something about it, because they are the first user, and similar people around them, because the same people know similar people. So if you're working with a $15 million business in Milwaukee, they probably know a lot of other $15 million business. They probably do not know $1 billion businesses, because they're very different people, they're very different types of people. So again, this kind of moves into that sales process of, once you can understand your ICP and deal with their objections, you can kind of reiterate and replicate that process, and then begin to scale that process. And in that sales process, there's 4 steps: qualifying them, identify, so you're identifying the problems they have, if they actually think it's a problem on their end, and then proposing your solution, why you're different. This is where you bring in the price, and then closing. Closing is where the deal gets made and done. Now, when he was explaining, he was talking about huge B2B sales, and these are within the span of many meetings, like minimum 5 meetings, maximum, I mean, he was talking about his 65 meetings for that $800 million close. When you're B2C, it's a lot shorter, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 meetings. When it's something like we have, which is business to professional consumer or prosumer, it's somewhere in the middle there. Because the thing with B2B is a lot of times you're either not talking to the decision maker, or there are multiple decision makers. There might be a decision maker for the finances. There might be a decision maker for the budget. There might be a decision maker for the plan of, is this something that we want to go the direction of, or is this something that's actually going to help? So there's a lot of people that need to get involved, and you always want to stress the fact that you need to figure out, is there anyone else I should be talking to? And by understanding there's these types of people involved in the B2B business, you know, okay, I haven't talked to someone who's in charge of finances. That's someone I need to get in contact with. And if they're saying, oh, you've talked to everyone, they're probably gatekeeping. So you need to figure out creative strategies around that. Now, again, bringing it back to what we're doing with wholesalers specifically, in most cases, they will be the decision makers. But what we've found from what he was saying is, we're thinking about this. There's a lot of wholesalers are one-man teams, which is great. But there are also a lot of wholesalers who might have partners, or might be a team of 4 or 5 people. And understanding that we need to be talking with not just the decision maker, but all owners of that company or of that business. That helps us realize, okay, it's not just the fact of talking to wholesalers and getting them on the platform. It's getting all the decision makers to be present and there and convinced and understand they have the problem. Because once they're qualified, you need to identify, okay, do they actually have this problem that I'm trying to solve? And first of all, if the answer is no, you either went in too quick and assumed that you have a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, or you're talking to the wrong customer or avatar. And when you know that, you can pivot or change who you're selling to. Now, in terms of those actual meetings, again, goes qualifying. Are they a decision maker? Do they have all the things they need to actually make a decision, or do I need to find more people? Then you have identify. Is this a problem they actually need, and do they know that this is a problem? Because if they don't know it's a problem, that in itself is a problem, and you need to help them understand, if it truly is a problem for them, what the problems are. And this kind of correlates with the next step, which is blanking out the word. I said it earlier in the video. Promote? No. I don't know, whatever. But by showing your solution and showing how you're different from the competition, and there's always competition, no matter what. If you think you have no competition, you haven't done enough research. Whether that competition is another business or doing nothing, that's still competition, because it's what they're using or not using right now that is competing with the product you're trying to sell or the service you're trying to sell. And by understanding that, you will always have competition, and understanding that competition, what value it provides and what it's lacking, you can then sew in your product's UVP, or what is the reason they should be doing it. Because they're not going to buy your product because of the features. They're going to buy from you, one, first and foremost, because they trust you, and two, because it's solving a problem that they're facing, and it's solving, in most cases, a financial problem. So for wholesalers, right now, the current disposition process is very manual, and through Facebook groups, through emails, through cold calls, whatever that is. The problem they're facing right now is the amount of time they're spending on dispositions is taken away from time they can be putting into acquisitions. And in acquisitions, there's a direct correlation between time and money. We just pitched this, so that was kind of flow. But by understanding that, we know that the biggest thing that can help them on dispositions is selling it faster, closing the deal, getting it off their hands as fast as possible, so they can focus on just getting the deals and not have to focus on the back end of it. And by understanding that, we have a value proposition that takes all the features, whatever. They don't care about features. They care about that end of the day. They care about that problem that you're solving, the pain that's alleviating from them, and what they will not have to worry about when they go with you. So then you go into price and close, and if you do this correctly, pricing should always be pushed to the very last minute, because, well, in some scenarios the pricing is part of the value, but even so, if you do it correctly, the amount of value you provide and have them agree upon that they need, again, they're identifying the problem, they understand it, and you should understand and agree that you have the solution. Pricing is no longer an issue, because as long as you price it right, it's what would it cost them to not solve this problem, and it damn better be better be more than what you're pricing, what you're charging them, because if you're pricing them more than what it costs them, they're never gonna budge. But if it's a realistic price and it's adding more value than what they're giving up, you have something there. So then it goes to close. Now, just to wrap this up, the 3 big questions to know and understand are: 1, why should they do this? Why should they buy your product? Why should they buy your service? Why should they subscribe to whatever? Why? What reason do they have? And that's, again, understanding their pain, understanding the reason behind it, what will alleviate that pain. Then, why now? Why is it so important for them to do it today? Not in a year, not in 3 years, not in 10 years when the industry catches up. Why is it so crucial to have them get it done today? And this isn't an answer of why do you need them to do it today. It's why do they need it to be done today. The last is why with us. So why can't they solve this problem with someone else? Why does it have to be through you? And this is often the UVP. What separates you from that competition, both as a business and as an early startup or as founders? Longer video today, but a lot of value. It was a great class yesterday, and we also talked to him a week ago and after the class a bit, and just very valuable insights from a man who's seen a lot and has done a lot. So I hope you found value in this. We're actually going to an event today with Prism Title for seeing some investors, some wholesalers, which is good to talk to again. But that's all I got for you guys today. See you guys next time. Free Palestine.